Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you 10 ways to use 6x6 paper pads. I have a whole bunch of ideas to share with you today, so let's get started. For today's video, I'm going to be using the Minte Papers Autumn Splendor 6x6 paper pad. I also have some die cuts, little ephemera pieces that I might use. They coordinate with this paper pad, so I'm going to set that aside. For this project, you can use double-sided paper or single-sided paper, whatever you have. It works well with both. I'm excited to see what my projects look like using this paper. So let's start off with idea number one is going to be a paper bag. So it's got a little handle and a little opening just to slip a little treat or card. Really super cute. So let's make this. All right, so I've got a scoreboard and my paper and my scoreboard. And the first thing I'm going to do is score at 2 3/4. And then I'm going to score at 5 1/2. I'm going to rotate my paper one turn to the left and score at 5 1/2 again. So this keeps the orientation of my bag upright, and we'll put a few cuts into this and turn it into a bag. So I'm going to go ahead and crease the score mark so that you can see what we're working with, making sure that my bag stays nice and straight. The first cut I'm going to make is cut away this little corner here. I'm going to cut it on a slight angle. Okay, so we'll cut that away. And then I'm going to come over here. I'm going to cut at a slight angle as well until I meet that middle score line here. And then we'll come and cut this whole piece away. Okay, the reason why I cut over the score line is so that when I fold it and fold this up, there's going to be no resistance. Okay, and the last thing I like to do is just cut a little bit away on this corner here, just in case the bag's not perfectly straight. When we fold this in and cover it up, it's not going to stick out. Okay, so I notice when I try to fold and glue this down, there's a little bubble, so I can just sort of train that paper to go the way I want it to, force it. All right, now I'm going to glue these pieces down. And I'll fold that over, press my glue into place. Okay, and now we'll do the same to the bottom. Okay, so our bag is formed. Okay, a little tiny, cute little pocket. You could slip a little chocolate bar in there, something thin and flat, like a Hershey or something. And now we can add some handles. So here I just added a piece of twine and tied it all together in one long piece so that I only needed one piece of string. And then you have a little bag with the handles. Now I prefer this one because I can actually hold it. So that is idea number one, making a little tiny bag. Idea number two is to make bookmarks. These are super quick and easy. In this particular paper, it was single-sided, so it was white on the background. This one has a really nice fall pattern. You can create it the way I did it in my first one, or you can create them just single strips, and in that case you would get a lot more simple bookmark. Or you could cut it at 3 inches. And now here, this one, we can score this in half and then fold it together. So this is now 3 inches. I can score it at 1 1/2 and fold it together and then glue that together. And then you have a thicker, more substantial bookmark, but you just don't get to see that pretty paper. So the option is there for you if you want to do just little strips and you get more out of your paper, or you can cut them at 3 inches, score them in half, and then glue them together. If you do it like this, you'll get 2 bookmarks out of one piece of 6x6 paper, and it'll be a little bit thicker and glued together. Okay, if you do it like this, you'll get 4 bookmarks out of one sheet of 6x6 paper. So there you have it. Idea number 2 is bookmarks. So the next idea I have is for a little pen pocket. All right, so I'm going to take my piece of paper and in my scoreboard, I'm going to score at 1.5, and then I'm going to score at 4.25. Okay, and then I'm going to rotate my paper, one turn to the left, and score at 5.5 inches. We'll just crease those folds, and then we can see what we're working with here. We're going to cut away on this bottom flap. We're going to cut away the left and the right, and we're going to leave this middle piece here. So we'll come in. Here's the center score line right here. I'm just going to cut this at an angle, and then I'm going to remove this piece completely. So let's get rid of that, and cutting on the outside of the score mark so that I get rid of that. So when I fold it, this doesn't have any interference. And then we're going to do the same thing on this side. We're going to just cut up the score mark to that intersecting line there. And then we'll just cut this at an angle, get rid of that, and then come in and cut this whole piece away. The next thing I want to do is I want to cut a little bit away here. What's going to happen is this is going to fold over, and you'll see the left side is a little bit bigger than the right side, so that when they fold, they're going to meet right in the middle. If I come from this section, maybe to like about here, I'm just going to make a little mark on my paper. So I want to cut this section away, and then I'm going to cut this section away. I find it's easy to do this part with a ruler and a craft knife. I like the precision of a craft knife for these small little bits like this. Okay, so cut that piece off and then come to this side, and I'm going to do the exact same thing. Okay, so what should happen now is this larger piece should fold in just like this, and then this one should fold in and meet right in the center. And then this part is going to fold up to glue down. I don't want to put too much because I don't want it to seep out and then end up sealing my pen pocket shut. And then we're going to glue the bottom up. So you could do what I did here. I added some lace trim to embellish this. Any stationery lover, such as myself, would thoroughly enjoy a gift like this over chocolate. Maybe not over chocolate, but you get the idea. So that was idea number 3, pen pockets. Okay, on to idea number 4. These are miniature envelopes. Super quick and easy, no measuring required, I promise you. It's so simple, and you don't need any special tools to make this either. So for this one, I'm going to use this pattern because it doesn't really matter about the orientation, because we're going to end up creating the envelope like this. And if there's an orientation, it might be upside down by the time you're done. So when you're starting, I guess you want to determine which part you want to see on the inside flap of your envelope. So I'm going to work in this top corner like this. I need to find the center of my cardstock. So I'm going to use my grid lines to help me with that. So I'm going to pop this corner here and line it up here, and then line up this corner with this corner. We're going to be right in the center. I need my ruler for this. I'm going to make a little mark right here in the center with my pencil. This is going to be covered up. You're not even going to see this. And then I'm going to turn my ruler around and find the center here. Okay, so I just need this center point exactly in the center. So what I'm going to do is take this point and bring it right into the center to meet this point. Once that point is lined up, I'm going to push out. Okay, and then I'm just going to grab my bone folder and force that paper down. Now I'm going to take this side and fold it into the center to meet that point. And I'm just going to hold it with my hand, and I'm just going to go down the center and sort of make that mark. Okay, holding my paper nice and straight and work in that crease. I'm going to press in those lines. Okay, and then the next thing I'm going to do is fold up. Now I'm going to decide how far up I want to go. Now here I like to use my grid lines to make sure that the bottom of the envelope doesn't get crooked, because I don't have a reference point for this flap. So I just kind of want it to sort of meet there. I'm just going to press that in. Don't worry about the bulk in these corners. We're going to get rid of that in a second. So I'm just going to press everything in nice and good. And now for the top, I'm going to do the same thing and decide how far down I want my envelope to come. I'll just get that sort of lined up, make sure that looks nice and straight, and fold. Okay. Now, what we've done is created some areas that we need to cut away. So there's some nice creased score marks there where we're going to cut away those corners. So I'm going to follow along the score marks that I've created and just chop those little bits away. So on all four sides. Cool. Okay. Now, if your sides are kind of sticking out a little bit like here, you can just trim those just slightly. I'll just make a quick little snip, just a little slight angle there. And then everything should fold together nicely. So now we're going to add adhesive, and I just want to add adhesive here, down these flaps here. The envelope is done. Now you can continue with the little tiny touches, like for example, I like to cut this part away on the flap. I'll just come in and cut that a little. I like to tuck this, so I'll show you what I do. When everything is adhered together, I like to just roll this little piece under. Just roll it until it just meets that cardstock edge. All right, so that is idea number 4, miniature envelopes. All right, the next idea are little tickets or ticket stubs. So there's a few ways to do this. For the little ones, we're going to cut 1 inch. Okay, 1 little inch strip. And then I'm going to score this at 2 and then 4. Okay, pretty simple. Fold it one way, fold it the other way, and then you have your little strips. Now to identify the edges, I like to round the corners or cut them off, whatever sort of tools you might have. Okay, so there you go. You have 3 little tags. Isn't that cute? If you were going to do that out of the whole sheet, you would end up with 6 strips of tickets for a total of 18 tickets. Now, if you wanted to make it larger, we're going to take a piece that measures 1 3/4, and then we're going to score that in half at 3 inches. You could really make these any size you wanted. Just press that in. Now you can take your scissors and you can make rounded edges, or you can just make little angle cuts. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then you have 2 large tickets. So these are very different looking tickets out of the same little piece of paper. So you can make, if you're going to do it this way, you could get 3 strips like this out of a 6x6 paper with a little piece left over, or you could make it a little smaller. Instead of doing 1 3/4, you could do them at 1 1/2, and then that will give you 4 strips out of 1 sheet of 6x6 paper, making a total of 8 large tags. All right, so those are just some options that you can make. That's it for idea number 5, little tickets. I may have called them tags throughout the making of this recording. I cannot recall, but I feel like I did. But these are not tags, these are tickets. Okay, let's move on. Since I kept calling the last project tags, let's make some tags. Now, a lot of 6x6 paper pads have little cut aparts inside of them. This was a 6x6 piece of paper. It told me exactly where it needed to be cut. I'm going to show you how to make some tags out of the tiny ones and out of a regular piece of paper as well. For this, it's very obvious. And I'm just going to go ahead and cut. Here are 4 little pieces that I cut out. Aren't they just the sweetest little things? So here's what I do. I take these, line them all up together, and I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to create a little tag angle. Okay, I'm going to cut that. And now what I like to do is take one of the tags and flip it the other way. And then what happens is it creates the exact angle that you need to be able to have even symmetrical tags. So I'll just get this lined up and I'm going to cut that away. Now you have perfect symmetrical little tag edges. So I'll line them all back up again. punch a little hole. Now you can add some twine through there. And there we go. We have these tiny little, cute little tags. I'm going to show you two sizes. So firstly, we can make a nice big tag. So let's cut this at 3 inches. So what I'm going to do is just cut on an angle. I usually like to make multiple tags at once. And then I have a guide where I can cut and, you know, flip it over and cut. So this is a 3 by 6 inch tag. Nice big one. Then I've got another piece left that's 3 by 6. Cut it at 4 inches. And now this one will be 3 by 4 inch tag. Really pretty. And now we have this little one left over. We could turn this into a card front little topper, or actually that's nice for the front of one of those envelopes. You could also punch a hole here and write on the back and hang that on your gift. This one ends up being 3 by 2 inches. So we have all these different sizes. I mean, you could just cut up your paper and make your own different sizes, whatever you want, but this is just an idea. So that is idea number, what number are we on? Number 6? I don't know. I guess I'll figure that out when I edit this video. So idea number, insert number here, tags. The next idea I have, little paper rosettes. So this is made with 1 sheet of 6 by 6 paper. It is a little fiddly, so if you're not good with little tiny things, then this might make you crazy. But I really had fun making this one. So let's do that. So first thing I want to do is score every 1/2 inch. So 1/2, 1, 1/2, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4, 4.5, 5, 5.5. Okay. Now I'm going to flip it over and do the same thing on the other side, just so that I make sure that I don't get any cracking in this paper. I like to fold everything before I cut it. So to start, I'm going to fold the first one up. Okay, so when I fold up, this allows me to be able to glue the pieces together. So you'll see what I mean as we go along. So I'm going to fold, and I'm going to accordion fold back and forth all the way to like how you used to make a little paper fan. So I'm folding back and forth, and I can force that paper. I'm not creasing the folds super hard, but I can kind of push that paper to make sure that it stays nice and straight. Sometimes when you fold like this, you can end up getting a sort of wonky or not straight. I like to take my bone folder and push. Just push it all down so that it's all lined up nice and straight. And once I'm happy with that, then I'll come in and turn it, and then I'll really burnish those edges so that my little accordions stay nice and straight. I'm going to flatten it out, and I'm going to start cutting. So I'm going to cut this at 1.5 inch intervals. So that's going to give me 4 pieces that measure 6 by 1.5. Okay, so now I have these pieces ready. Now I need to prepare how I'm going to close my pinwheel. So I have a little, scrap die cut here, and I also have a big scrap die cut here. I just use circle punches for that. You can use liquid glue for this, or you can use tape runner. I find that liquid glue is going to hold better, but you do have to be a little bit patient putting it together. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to start with the first one. I'm going to wrinkle this all back up. Okay. And then I'm going to apply my glue to this outer edge. I'm going to take my next piece and I'm going to glue it to here. Okay, so just lining that up, pressing that adhesive in. Now I'm not letting go. I think a bulldog clip here would help. So I'm just going to clip that together because I don't want that to come undone as I'm working. I have some bigger ones that I can use as my little paper rosette gets thicker. So here I'm going to glue the next one to this end. Make sure everything is lined up. I'm going to undo that clip, and now I'm going to scrunch everything up and use my bigger clip now. Hold that all together. Last one, looking good. I'll leave that for a second. I am going to prep my little circle. I'm going to cover this in adhesive because this can get a little tricky when you want to sort of let go of the paper. It's going to like explode. So basically what I want is for my glue to start drying. So it's going to sit on that paper and it's going to start to get a little tacky. If you want, you could use hot glue for this. If you have a glue gun, I just was too lazy to get it out for this video. I just find that if I'm patient, this works just fine. I'm going to finish scrunching the rest. Everything all folded up. Now what we want is to take this end here and attach it to this side. I'm going to use tape runner just for the quick adhesion so that it will catch. And then I'm also going to apply a little bit of glue. So the tape runner is going to help grab it. Hold my pinwheel down. Be patient. This will come together, I promise. And I'm going to just fan it out in a circle, trying my best to get it attached. And okay, I'm not going to let go now because it'll just pop up. Oh, I'm going to grab this and set it down over my circle here on the side. So I'm just going to let that sort of live where it wants to live and hold it in place. Now, if you have something heavy, you could set on here until that glue sort of catches. I'm feeling like we did okay here. I know this can seem a little bit like, why is she doing that? But I really love the look of this when they're done. Okay, so now I'm going to come with my glue and just add a little bit around the tops here. It's going to help seal it all together. If you have hot glue, you can fill that center and it'll set very quickly. And now if you have something that you can set on there to hold everything in place while the glue dries, if you were going to be making a lot of these, I would suggest getting the hot glue gun out. So there we go. Idea number 7, beautiful paper rosettes. Okay, moving right along here, we've got idea number 8, a journal card or a card topper embellishment. I've just used scraps to create this. This little card measures 3.5 by 5. So you can see that I rounded the corners here. And then I took little scraps to create these little banners. And then we have a little flag banner. Now we're going to adhere these down. I'm going to use tape runner for that. Okay, and now to do this little wrapping of my twine, what I do is just make the tiniest little notch. Like I'm really barely taking anything out of there. Just the tiniest little notch. Do the exact same thing. Tiniest little notch in the paper is almost not even noticeable, but I just want to get it wrapped around. That's good. I'm not very good at the whole bow tying. I do try, but something I can practice on. All right, so there we go. We have our cute little journal card or card topper. For example, this is a A2 size card base. This would go perfectly on top of there, add a nice little sentiment, or you can slip it into a pocket in your journal. So there you go. That's idea number 8. Idea number 9, I have some embellished paper clips. Now these don't look very embellished. I did struggle with this quite a bit, trying to figure out what was the best method to make these happen. This one is a big paper clip and this one is a small paper clip. Now here you can see the paper clip in between the paper. Here you can't. So I have a little one and a big one. These are just standard packages of paper clips from the dollar store. I would add this twine in the top of my paper clip on there, however you want to do it. I don't know. Was just a sort of afterthought. This is the pattern that I'm going to use for my project. So I'm going to fold it in half, and then I'm going to fold it in half the other way. Take your paper clip, pop it over the top of the paper. I like to add a little bit of double-sided tape here so that the paper clip doesn't fall out. And then anything that's hanging over, I'm just going to fold it like that back onto the paper. Now I'm going to fold this piece up and glue it down here. So I'm going to add adhesive to this part. And then fold this, meet it at the top, and then press that in. Now the double-sided tape is going to help catch that, and then the glue is just going to add that final layer of security. Okay, so let's do that again for this side. Here we go. Just press everything in. I'll grab my bone folder and just reinforce those folds. Embellish it however you want, and then that paper clip is hidden. That paper will just sandwich in between your project. All right, so first paper clip. The second one, this one involves 2 sets of scraps. So I've got this piece right here. I'm just going to fold it in half. Now I'm going to take my paper clip, put it over top. I think you can guess where this is going. Now we're going to take another scrap of paper and cover that up. I'm going to just put these 2 pieces together, fold them in half, and we end up with this little cute image of our little squirrel at the chair here. So then I'm going to get that all adhered down. So it's going to look a little something like this. And then our paper clip will be buried in between those 2 pieces of paper. And I think I need something good and strong to hold this. While this dries, I'm going to take clips and hold everything in place. Now, I use these clips for absolutely everything. They just help, apply pressure so that you don't have to keep holding it. So I'm going to make sure that this paper clip is adhered all the way around. And then when it dries, I'll come and finish it off. And now you have this gorgeous embellished paper clip. So that is idea number 9, embellished paper clips. How cute is that? Okay, the very last idea I had, idea number 10, is to make miniature notebooks. These are just the cutest little things ever. I absolutely love them. They just make me happy just looking at them. It's kind of silly. I'm going to show you how to make these. There are 2 different options that I have, and I'm just using scrap papers to make this. I have a drawer on my desk where whenever I cut up cardstock or make projects and stuff, I always end up with scraps. So I like to cut my scraps down to these sort of like usable pieces to be able to stamp sentiments on, to make tags, to make little mini notebooks, and all sorts of stuff like that. So I keep these on my desk in this little drawer. I reach for these constantly. I use them all the time. So I'm going to grab out some pieces. So this first one is just a little notepad with a scrap wrapped around with a staple around it. I did that by taking a scrap of paper. So here's a nice scrap. I wouldn't even call that a scrap. And I'm going to cut it to the same size, the same width of my scrap papers. And then I'll check it against my notepad. That's perfect. Then I will fold this down. Now you can decide how far down you want this part to come on your notepad. So I just want to make sure that when I'm folding it, it doesn't push my papers out of the notepad, and wrap that around. Now, in this instance, I folded that back under. I kind of did this, and I'll do the same here for this one too, because I've already done it. But you could leave it, this long or whatever. So I'm just going to staple that. I have a stapler somewhere. Guys, where'd my stapler go? Okay, I have a stapler. Make sure these are stacked up nicely. You could add 1 staple or 2. I'm just going to add 1. I'm going to find the center and then add 1 staple. That's it. Nothing more. So this is a cute little notepad to slip into a stationery set. You could create a little pen pocket. Look, you can just slip that right in there. How cute is that? It's just, for example, look at little pen, notepad you could just pull it out. That's so cute. I really like that. Nice addition to your pen pocket holders. So the second notepad that I have, this one's really cute. I was just playing around with this piece of twine, and all it is just stapled right in the middle, just like that. Exactly the same size piece as this. I'm just folding it differently. So I have a piece left over. I'm going to first fold my pages in half, and I'm going to fold them all one at a time. So I'll fold them, crease the fold, and then I'll stack these all up together. Now you'll notice you'll get this sort of jutted out edge. I'm going to fix that because I want it to be nice and flush. what I'm going to do is take a ruler and a craft knife, and I'm just going to slice off those edges. Run my blade along that paper and just go nice and slow, firm, even pressure with multiple passes. I'm not trying to cut it all in one go, and it'll just cut off probably like 1 or 2 sheets at a time until we get to the very bottom, and then everything is cut. Perfect. And now we have this clean flush edge. So now we're going to take our little paper and decide, do we want that to be the front? I'm going to figure out where this is going to land on the front of my little book. And I want the edges to be flush with the paper, with just a little border all the way around. All right, that looks good. Once I have it where I want it to be, I'm going to staple it. I'm just going to eyeball with my stapler. You could be more precise. I'm not so super worried about it. So I just staple that, and then I'm going to fold it. You get the idea? And now I'm going to fold my little flap over. Okay. Now I need to figure out how I'm going to close this with my string. Grab a piece of twine. I'm not going to make it as long as my other one. I'm going to take my twine and find the middle, and then glue my little circle closure over top of that like this, and press and hold, make sure everything gets adhered. So that's just going to hold that there, and then I'm going to wrap it this way, and then tie a little bow. And there you go. You have this sweet little book, and it'll open up and our closure will stay attached. I love little mini things. For some reason, they just make me happy. It's kind of strange. And there you have it. Idea number 10, little mini notebooks. So there we go, guys. We have 10 ideas to chop up our 6x6 pattern paper. We have gift bags, pen pockets, bookmarks, mini envelopes, multitude of different sizes of tags, some journal cards, ticket stubs, embellished paper clips, and mini notebooks. All right, that's going to be it for today's video. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. If you've stuck here for this long, I really appreciate your support. Thank you so much for being a subscriber to my channel and a big supporter to all that I do. I hope that you love this Chop It Up Inspired series. There are 100+ videos in my Chop It Up Inspired projects. Check out that playlist. It'll be on the screen for your viewing pleasure. Thanks again for joining me. Have yourself a lovely day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!